everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Drinking and Reading, Coffee and Weird Tales. We're on part 2 of The Ghost Punch by Hans Bock. Yes. So where last we left off, Terry was seeing hags in the locker room, and was it Mike? Mike or Mick? Mike? Mike didn't believe him. And also Terry's worried because... That's better. Terry was worried because there's a family curse and he thinks he's gonna die, and then the old hag has told him he's gonna die, and whatnot. Okay, so yeah. Part 2. The hag agreed pleasantly. Yes, you might as well keep your mouth shut. Talking won't do you any good. Only you can see me or hear me. Well, Terence O'Connor Flanagan, take a good look around you. Enjoy yourself while you may. After the 3rd round, well, you'll be seeing your father and your grandfather again. Now wait, Terry began. What's the matter? Too loose? Mike demanded. Okay, Terry said. I guess I told you that, the gloves. Fucking cheers. The hag went on. 100 years ago, your great-grandfather fell in love with me and then jilted me. I swore I'd carry my vengeance beyond the grave, and that's just what I'm doing. Every male Flanagan has died or will die at the moment of his greatest triumph, and this is your triumph, isn't it? She tinged her voice with mock sympathy. Your poor little mother will no longer need to struggle. All your debts will be paid, and you'll be champion. You think? Aha! She launched some rather grade B laughter. Like fun, you'll be champion. Like fun, you'll be champion, for I'm going to be in the ring with you. I'll deflect every blow that you aim, and in the 3rd round, the battling redskin will break your neck with a knock to the chin. Ooh. And if you're thinking that this is just a bad dream, don't fool yourself. It's not, as you'll find out. Fucking, what a bitch. Super fucking petty. Anyway. And with that, she snuffed out like the flame of a wind-blown candle. Terry smiled sickishly, and Mike growled, "What's griping you? You look like a guy just trying out his first set of store teeth." What? Store teeth? Cheer up, kid. You can't break down now. You gotta do it for your ma and for me. Yeah, I know, Terry. Terry made his smile more authentic. No, more artificial, which persuaded Mike that it was authentic. Say, do me a favor, will you? He asked as Mike was tying the gloves on him. Ring up Father Flaherty for me. Want his blessing? Mike asked, heading for the phone. Sort of. Tell him to come over as quick as he can, and to bring along some holy water. Holy water? That was it? Wait, what? Holy water. That was it. Father Flaherty could get rid of the ghost. Nothing must stop Terry now. But he was afraid, and he didn't like it. Cold prickles running up his back, and something twisting his stomach around like a piece of wet wash. Why, Terry'd faced worse opponents than 2 battling redskins together, and laughed as he cauliflowered their ears. And that little leprechaun dressed in the uniform of a subway guard who'd tried to push him on the subway tracks, and that pretty girl he'd met at his last fight who'd just looked at him and then all of a sudden thrown her arms around him and kissed him. Terry had always been scared of women, but not of her. Scared of women, but not in this goose pimple way. Okay. small and dark. Maybe, okay, what? Maybe okay. Small and dark, maybe Italian. Maybe another racist slander. But boy, she was a honey. Wonder if she'll be out there tonight. Wonder if I'll see her. Oh, what's the use? Oh, what's the use? If I didn't dream up that family curse business, she could be twins. What? And I still won't see her. Golly, poor mum. What the fuck is this guy's thought processes? It's not making sense. Unless they are, and I'm just not making sense of them. Okay. Mike came back, shaking his head. I couldn't get Father Flaherty. Nobody home. Try again, Mike. We ain't got much time. Looks like Rizzo is going to bop Kaplan to sleep any minute. Must be the two other... fuck. The two other guys in the ring at the moment. Then get a wriggle on, Mike. This is important. Mike thought that he understood. There had been times when things seemed to fall from under his own feet. No, from under his own mental feet. Sure, kid. Terry jumped off the table and strode about, thumping his gloved hands together. That ghost was the real thing, all right. As real as the cry of the Flanagan banshee the night they brought Pop home dead, though the neighbours swore that it was only a howling dog. Terry glanced at the locker again, but the hag's face wasn't there. Doggone her. Doggone her! Why couldn't she have stayed and listened to reason? A heck of a fine old girl she was, persecuting people who weren't responsible for her broken heart. It wasn't fair. Terry would have smashed down any man who even mentioned hitting an old lady, but for once he thought that there might be something in the idea. A foul? No, yeah. A foul for a foul. No, that wasn't the way to fight. Gee, if only Father Flaherty would hurry over. If only. Would hurry over. Mike returned. Still not at home. Better take a couple of deep breaths, kid. They're counting on Kaplan out. Nope, they're counting Kaplan out. He finally knotted the cord of Terry's robe. Hang on to your coat, kid. The going's rough. There's a mob right outside the door, waiting for a look at you. Waiting for a look at you, souvenir hunters, I'll bet you. It's the dark girl. No, is the dark girl there? The one who got fresh with you? No, I didn't see her. Spooky and maybe a twist. And so, here he was, Terry Flanagan, soon to be the late Terry Flanagan, and no priest to send away the ghost. Oh, she was present all right, almost too painfully in evidence, for she had decided to make things easy by roosting her chin on the ropes at the Redskins' left. She grinned nastily as the bell pealed, and for a moment Terry forgot her as he snapped off his stool and out toward the Indian, who was advancing with all the charming delicacy of a charging elephant. This is well written too. I'm enjoying this. What was his name? Hans Bock? Wait, it starts with a H. Let's have a look. Hans Bock. Hannesbok. Like Bock from, what was that story we read? The first one. Something about the devils? Satan's bondage. Yeah. Bock was in that story too. Anyway. Elephant. The Redskin was evidently not in on the hag's secret. He was a sportsman, and he wouldn't have fought if he were tipped off. The hag called with biting tartness. Don't worry about me, Terence Flanagan. I won't do anything. for a while. The Indian was cautious. Most of the time, he employed a jab to stay out of Terry's range. Terry landed a few rather heavy ones on the Redskin's chest and shoulders. Shut the fuck up. But his mind wasn't on his work. Third round, well, say, there was a way to beat the old hag at that. Terry had 3 rounds in which to fight, and what had he told the reporters last night? I'll get him in the first round. Sure, get him now. Oh, no you don't, the old woman's face sneered unkindly. You don't get him at all while I'm here. And it seemed that she wasn't far wrong. Terry had always kept his head clear. You had to. But now that he was stumbling in a haze of thought, the Redskin took advantage of it, stabbing lefts to Terry's face as he circled about. Terry forgot his thinking with a jolt and caught the Indian with a left and right. Then snapped a left hook at his jaw, which the Indian dodged. Left hook, is that like a hook or a hook? I don't know, and I don't care. The Indian decided to be discreet for a while, to study up on Terry's technique just a little bit longer. Why, you could tell that the guy wasn't any too certain about himself, for he ought to have gotten a pretty clear idea of Terry after he'd been appraising him at each of his fights. Okay. A little bit more. That thought should have cheered Terry, but it didn't. It was imperative that he slap the palooka down on the spot and nail... Look like I've been slapped a few times. The thought should have cheered Terry, but it didn't. It was imperative that he slap the palooka down on the spot, and he nailed him with a right smash on the chin. On the chin. He followed this with a left hook to the ear, and then hammered him with another right. Why, it seemed that the guy was dizzy already. The panty waist. That's an insult. The panty waist. This ought to be easy. Oh, so like a weakling? No. The Indian heartily concurred and did his best to make it difficult by waltzing around, using a jab to keep out of Terry's reach. And that was all of the first round. Terry wasn't even sweating as he thunked down on his stool. Holy smoke! Mike groaned. What did you think you were doing, you oaf? Playing party games? You're supposed to beat his brains out. Well, go in and do it. The hag simpered and let loose with a tee-hee brand of giggle. Terry glared at her. And the second round was on. The mob was yelling good and proper now, and Terry meant business. So did the Indian. So did the hag. Terry ripped out of his corner and doubled the Indian with a right to the body, then straightened him out with both hands to the head, and staggered him with a left hook to the jaw. As the Indian awkwardly lifted his feet to dance around the jab, the hag's face flitted from its perch on the ropes and intervened between the battlers. None of that. You're not going to upset my apple cart, you young pup. It was a gruesome sight, a 6'4" body with shoulders like King Kong, and a little white-haired old woman's head atop the massive neck. Terry hesitated for an umpteenth of a second, and then the glove zoomed out of the face and dropped him with a left hook to the head. Bells rang in Terry's ears, but they weren't signaling the end of the round. Oh no. Where am I? Okay. He struggled to one knee, shook his hand free of the tinnitinabulations. Okay, yeah. And hurled against the Redskin, jabbing lefts that reddened the Redskins' coppery face. The mob had decided to go insane with a vocal way, and their shouts scrunched in from all sides like a vice of sound. Terry and the Indian played seesaw with some useless throws, and then the bell. Holy cats! The Indian was still lively as ever, and the old hag was making for the kill. Mike wiped a tear from his eye. You phony! You unmentionable phony! Phooey! Yeah, what if... Phooey, whatever did I see in you? Kid stuff. Holy Saint Bridget. Holy Saint Bridget. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah, looking tired. Oh hey, I'm really skew-if today. Okay, doesn't matter. Skew-if all round. Yeah, so that's part 2 of The Ghost Punch by Hans Bock. I'm enjoying this story. It's well written. I like that. I like things that have sort of a little bit of comedic value. Always makes me really happy, especially in a weird tale. So I'm slightly perkier this morning. Don't know why, just am. I'm thinking of doing maybe some more superstitions for Halloween stuff, but I'm not sure. I'm actually now going to go and watch a movie that my husband suggested to me as he watched it last night. I can't remember what it's called. The Midnight Hour? From 1985, anyway. So I'm now going to go and watch that. Should be good. Maybe I'll talk about it, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll look for a superstition to talk about, because, you know, there's fucking heaps. I think I mentioned it before. I mean, now's probably not the time to get into it. But yeah, no, now's not the time to get into it. I hope you've enjoyed this part 2 of The Ghost Punch. I've super enjoyed reading it. My computer's not, well, it's not doing anything, really. Jeez. Okay, just decided just to, you know. Yeah, okay. Well, thanks for joining me. See you for part 3.